We are not going to see Rings of Power Season 2 for a few years at this point. In my opinion, it doesn't even deserve another season, but they're making it, and until then, we're going to occasionally get interviews with cast members and the creatives because Amazon needs to keep some people interested in the series. But Patrick McKay, one of the showrunners, has now come out and admitted they had no plans initially to follow Tolkien's original writing and source material. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So as you can see, I'm starting with a Bounding into Comics article. It says the Lord of the Rings of Power showrunner explains why they decided to ignore Tolkien's writings and depict their own creation of Mordor. And right off the bat, this is just so depressing to hear because I initially, years ago when the show was announced, wanted it to be good. I was really hoping they'd try to stick to source material, they'd make it feel like something Tolkien would be proud of, and then of course the show came out and it was a disaster. It was one of the worst shows that I had to watch last year. I am sad that this is the show that they ended up creating and that Amazon now is going to make a bunch of seasons of, but to hear the showrunner explain that they just decided to make things up and depict their own creation of, Mordor specifically, is just so sad to me. It shows that they have no real care about this material, they have no respect for Tolkien or his legacy, and all they really care about is making something that they like because they are not talented enough to make something that follows the original material. But it says that he spoke to The Hollywood Reporter about the show's 6th episode that showed the orcs dug a giant tunnel into the heart of a volcano. The tunnel was then filled with water afterward. A dam broke. After the massive flood of water made contact with the burning hot lava, it created an explosion that destroyed much of the surrounding land and covered it in ash. By the show's 8th and final episode of the season, Halbrand is revealed to be Sauron, and Mordor is shown covered in black with Mount Doom still billowing out smoke and lava pouring down its sides. Now, it says he explained the scene, saying a huge theme in Tolkien is the environmentalism and the way machines and industrializations destroy the land. We wanted that to be central and core all the time. It's a thing that comes up again and again throughout the show. So right off the bat, you can see that they are admitting that they really wanted to make this focus on the environment and industrialization, a big key part of the show. And he said, so in the writer's room, we asked what if Mordor was beautiful, all like Switzerland, and then what could happen that could transform it, which of course is not what Tolkien originally wrote. So they decided to alter that material in order to put a narrative behind the show. Again, environmentalism, the way machines and industrializations destroy land. It says we talked about poisoning the land. Then you find out about the tunnels being dug and sulfur is going up into the air. It all builds towards this realistic way of igniting the mountain, which now blacks out the sky for a very practical reason. If this was just a random fantasy series and this happened to be the way that the land was corrupted by the big baddie, it would be a fine backstory, but again, the problem is that this is not what Tolkien wrote. Clearly, part of their environmental angle here is their anti-fracking stance based on how Mount Doom explodes now. It says, however, this is not how Mordor came about at all. In fact, the land was not idyllic like Switzerland. It had repeatedly been hammered by the eruptions of Mount Doom over the years, and thus was the desolate land readers and viewers of Lord of the Rings knowing. In People of Middle-earth, Christopher Tolkien writes in the notes section of the book that the name Mordor was maybe already an Elvish name for that region because of its volcano and its eruptions, which were not made by Sauron, but were a relic of the devastating works of Melkor in the Long First Age. These people claimed that they loved the source material, they cared about, respecting Tolkien's legacy, but every piece of content in this show proves the exact opposite. They didn't know the source material that they were working with. Maybe they had seen the movies, but that had to be it. They didn't actually care. And Amazon should have hired people that had the love and passion for this property, and they didn't. And that is why this show failed. We've also heard rumors that they wanted to completely reboot the Rings of Power after the first season. They're trying to get rid of some of the old creatives and bring in new ones and try to reboot it with season 2. I don't really see that happening because they're not going to completely do a 180 and change everything. They would have to fire literally everybody, bring in brand new people, and they would have to ultimately abandon season 1, and they've already spent $1 billion on that first season alone, and they're not just going to let it go. They're not just going to drop it. And with the new casting announcements, it doesn't seem like they're trying to even go in the right direction, because all they're doing again is promoting the fact that they're hiring, people of color, lots of women, people who wouldn't traditionally be in this work, as they have worded it many times, and there's no way to save Rings of Power at this point, which is very sad, because I would love a Lord of the Rings TV show that was good. Oh my god, that would be amazing, but I have no hopes with Rings of Power, and I know a lot of you guys have given up on it as well, but I still find it very important to bring up topics like this, because they're basically admitting that they threw away the source material. They didn't care about following Tolkien's original writing, which is just so depressing to have to read. We've also heard executives from Amazon admitting that the company is still being intentionally deaf about fan feedback, and basically saying that they're not really going to change much going into the next season. They are creating the product that they are confident in. They're going to go in the direction that they want to go in, which is just, again, another piece of the shit puzzle that they have created. They do need to listen to fan feedback. If they want people like me to give a season 2 a chance, if they want to get all of, you watching this video as viewers, they seriously need to change things and just try to reset this project. Again, firing the creatives that are on the project now, bringing in new people who actually know the original material, and just listening to our criticisms and trying to get it right in season 2. But I just don't really think that they're going to do that. I think that a season 2 is going to be as bad as season 1. I've said it before, I don't think that they're going to do 5 seasons of this show. They said that they're committed to a 2 and a 3 at this point. They've hinted. They said that in the new year, we're going to get announcements on season 3. I think that they are going to just do 3 seasons. They're going to say, well, we wanted to keep it in the trilogy format like the movies, and wow, it's gonna be great. I don't think that they're gonna go with the 5 they originally announced, especially with the fact that this show did drop off viewership wise. Only 2 weeks after the season finale, it fell off of the top 10 charts for Nielsen. It seemed like everybody kind of, gave up on it. Nobody was rewatching it, and when we're hearing about $1 billion show falling off charts only 2 weeks after a finale, that definitely spells bad news for the company making it, and in this case it's Amazon. But only time will tell. We've still got a long time until season 2. We're going to see more awful interviews like this release. But as you can see, the showrunner has now explained why they decided to ignore Tolkien's writings and depict their own creation of Mordor. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.